Engage, enlight, empower.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Create More Business Live. I am your host, Roderick Ferrier. Today's guest is Leslie Hassler. A little bit about us here at Create More Business Now. We help you grow your network with new targeted prospects faster and with greater accuracy inside of LinkedIn. We have some powerful marketing automation systems that communicate with your company's social media accounts like LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. So they automatically close the gap between connection and client, adding value, shortening the sales cycle, and giving you more time to communicate with hot prospects right now. Today's guest, Leslie Hassler, is a business coach. She helps women business owners to become the hero in their business in a way that gives them more freedom to grow their business and be with their families. Leslie is also a mom. Leslie, I believe your children are 10 and 9. Is that correct?
10 and 12.
10 and 12. Had that wrong. 10 and 12. Good stuff. Good ages. Leslie helps smart business owners across multiple industries avoid the common entrepreneurial pitfalls, get real results quicker, and in a way that is about working smarter, not harder. She is a business and success coach, a speaker, an entrepreneur, a time management expert, and she's also married to an orthotist. So for those of you who do not know what an orthotist is, as Leslie described it, her husband helps put people back together. Is that what I understand, Leslie?
Pretty much. So he does bracing, and then he'll go all the way through to helping people, if they need limb replacements, get new limbs and be able to walk again.
That's pretty exciting stuff. So
yeah.
as we get older, as I get older, and my hips and knees, I'm going to come see him. I could use someone to replace a shoulder right now. That would help. Leslie, in her business, what she focuses on, she helps business owners and entrepreneurs with pricing and profit planning, with sales and marketing, cash flow management, time management. That's a big thing for me as well. Time management, team development, process, and system creation. For many entrepreneurs, success seems an elusive concept. So despite putting in endless hours, bringing in clients, and doing what has to be done, there seems to be an invisible ceiling of success that these entrepreneurs just cannot seem to crack. Leslie today will be discussing how to double your business. 5 simple rules to your massive growth today. Not tomorrow, not 6 months from now, not 12 months from now, but today. How to get instant results. You can expect to learn how to use 7 numbers to generate a 6-figure income, why you must learn to delegate and leverage even if you're a one-person company, and how to maintain a healthy balance between growing a business and having a life. And that's very important if you are in business for yourself. So Leslie, I want to welcome you to Create More Business Live. I want to turn the helm over to you, and let's just jump right in, guys.
Well, howdy. Thank you for having me. I'm excited. So let's get started over here. So we are going to talk about the 5 rules of growth, and to get right into it, really my mission, and Rod, I'm sure yours is likewise, is I want to impact so many businesses because I've gone through there. I've kind of been through the school of hard knocks, if you will, and I know how frustrating it is on one end and how simple it is when people share the right information with you. And so I do have a mission to grow 10,000 businesses. That's why I love doing podcasts and webinars and speaking engagements and things like that. So as always, I can't wait to be able to impact your guys as well. And, as much as we're going to cover today, and I'm going to share with you some stuff that you probably have not heard or not heard in this way. Know that business is like that iceberg, and I think for a lot of entrepreneurs what we'll see is, everybody else sees what the iceberg at the top, what we're doing, it seems like we're doing, but we all know there's so much behind it, and really we're going to be talking about a little bitty of it, and I'm going to do as much as I can share as much as I can. I do talk fast, but a lot of that has to do with I'm love what I talk about, and I want you to get this information. So we'll share a couple ways you can connect on social media later. If you need to take this more, you want to know more afterwards, I am happy to chat and share as much as I can. I do want to start out with a little bit of a quiz, because here's what I found working with so many business owners is we're afraid to commit to what kind of growth we're looking for in our business. And so we tend to have these really nebulous things like, I want a six-figure business. I just want to be a multiple six-figure business. That is so vague. It doesn't really benefit us to stay in the land of gray when we're talking about this. So I just want you to right now either write down a number goal and be as specific as you can. Ideally, with my clients, when we start working on their growth plan, I need to make $359,432.25. That's how specific I want. Because when you get that specific, you actually can do the work to achieve it. But if it's that gray cloud, you just don't know. So I just want you to write down and make a commitment. How much growth do you want? You can do a percentage, you could do dollars, you could do overall revenue, whatever it is. But make a commitment to yourself, because I want to show you how easy it's going to be to get that number, whatever your number is. So we've already covered this. Rod did that, so I'm not going to spend so much time there. But I do want to start off with this, why business feels so hard for so many people. And every time I show this slide, I get like hands up in the air. Yep, this is what it feels like. Not enough time and too much to do. And really at the end of the day, you're overworked and underpaid and really exhausted. Well, there's a couple of things that are contributing to that. First of all, what you need to understand is as small businesses, we are the majority. I know it feels like a lonely road to walk on at times, but there are so many people out there that are running small businesses, solopreneur businesses, businesses under 10 employees. And you can see just some of the stats here is a lot of us aren't making a lot of money at it. And that's one of my commitments, is to help to get as many people over this kind of $100,000 ceiling. There's like 3 or 4 ceilings in a business. Like 100 grand is the first one to break through. About 250, 300 is the next one to break through. Then you get in that 5 to 750 range, and then you get that million. It's just everybody hits these natural glass ceilings, but we don't understand that it's actually natural and not a reflection of what you're doing. What really is a reflection of what you're doing is where you are on this entrepreneurial path. And I give some framework of dollars of what your earning potential is in each stage. It's really, they're frameworks. That's about what they are. There's somebody somewhere that can be in a certain stage and make more money or less money. But really, we all start off in this worker stage of business. And the worker really is about what I characterize as this roller coaster. So this is the process where you're going out chasing work, then doing the work, chasing it work, doing the work, and you're in this kind of up and down, feast and famine, if you will. And so you're feast and famine on how much work you have, but you're also feast and famine in your bank account. It's natural to be here. It's unnatural to stay here is really the big key concept here. So the reason why we stay here is we get into this saving mindset, like I need to save money, not the mindset of I need to invest money to be able to grow my business, make smart investments if it's time and money and things like that. We also just see so much of our value being on the work. So a worker, because it's natural for us to create a job for ourselves as our first company, but when we place all of our importance on doing the work, we limit our ability to grow the business. So hopefully that makes sense. But if you move through the worker stage, well, let me back up for a second. If a business fails, it's because they get stuck here. This hands down is the biggest downward spiral area for a business to stay too long in here. Usually, though, if we're looking to grow our business, typically people think, oh, well, I'm going to hire employees because we need to, quote, unquote, do more work. Well, the employer stage is called the employer stage because if you've read eMath, you understand this is the difference between a technician and a manager, right? We're not great leaders all the time. We don't always hire well, and then we don't always delegate and let go. So the employer stage can feel like the merry-go-round from you know where you're not sure how you can get off because all day long you're chasing fires and you're chasing your employees' problems and you're solving the world, and then at 5 or 6 o'clock you actually get to do your quote-unquote work. So this can be a really frustrating place for people to get stuck because they don't understand why their employees aren't doing more for them and taking more initiative and why they're the only ones that care about the business and that are there. And a lot of times the natural inclination is to go back to the worker stage. And we don't want to go back. We want to move forward because this next stage is really where we start winning at the game of business. So, you know, the entrepreneur really is about somebody that sees investing in the business and is looking for an ROI. We're not so much on, well, it might be a great idea. We're looking for facts and figures that make it a good business decision because small business has risk everywhere, and we need to be as educated as we can be to get there. An entrepreneur, instead of, you know, in contrast to the worker, an entrepreneur places the value on growing the business. This is somebody that wants a business to work harder for them than they do for it. Okay, so this is really when you truly become an entrepreneur and get the mindset of an entrepreneur is when you can really start winning at the game of business. And, you know, the money range here is kind of wide open because, you know, there are people that want a 7-figure business, and then there are people like me that do not. I don't need it. I don't want it. You know, my numbers, you know, not even $500,000 is where, you know, I want to be for the quality of life that I want. So you can have it all in here. You just have to be able to see where you are on this path of building business and how you can kind of move forward from it. So if we get into the 5 rules of growth, and part of the reason why I led you into the entrepreneurial path is because how a worker looks at growing a business is very different than how an entrepreneur looks at growing the business. And what I'm going to show you is all that entrepreneur skill set that you need to have in your business. So if we look at the 5 rules of growth, and I'm not going to read them all for you, but you can see there's a variety here, and there is about making room for the growth, meaning you can't do all the work. You know, understanding where your opportunity lies, and that's going to be where we spend up most of our time, and I'll show you some really cool stuff. You do need to find leverage points. Small businesses is the hardest place to actually get scalability and leverage in there. So you have to think about leverage in a way different way than you might be used to. Then we're going to talk about what I call the mad scientist phase, and then about really enjoying what you're doing, because if you're not enjoying it, why are you doing it? I mean, most of us could have corporate jobs that had benefits and might even pay more if it wasn't for the freedom that we're looking for. So we do have to start with the release, and I think this is a great image to have because if you can imagine a trapeze artist, there's almost no performer that has to full-on bodily, mind, spirit commit to where they need to go to. And in order to do that, in order to fly from bar to bar, they have to completely let go of where they were. So there's a book out there, it's called What Got You Here Won't Get You There, and it was a study of success. And while people that were able to achieve an initial level of success couldn't replicate it. And this whole concept of wherever you are in your business, if you're in the worker stage or the employer stage or entrepreneur stage, and remember I talked about all the glass ceilings you hit, it's because you haven't let go of what's got you there so that you can embrace something to take you to the next level. So our most valuable resource is time, right? We can't get more time. So you have to let something go in order to do that. That could be employees that aren't on the bandwagon to move forward. It could be clients that can't grow with you as you grow. It could be thoughts, it could be habits, it could be techniques. It's really kind of one of these wide open things. But the first step is always into identifying and making room for you to grow. So if you have a full work day, you know, you need to clear 4 to 8 hours a week. if I give you a really tactical kind of example, in order to concentrate on the next big idea, the next big product development, the next thing you're going to launch. And I know, Rod, we were talking about launch, before we got started, that you've got some things. Any kind of development like that takes a commitment of time. So you have to clear the plate in order to be able to do that. So when we look at understanding where the opportunity lies, there's kind of three little steps here. Knowing your numbers is huge, but nobody does it, and that's okay. So if that's you and going, I don't know my numbers, I'm going to tell you which numbers to know. And we always want to make it easy for our clients to say yes, and then we just need to choose the right strategies to help us get to that growth point that we want to do. So here are the 7 figures to know in your business. Now, what I love to call attention to here is that when people talk about growing their business, they generally say, I need more sales or I need more clients. Okay, so sales or revenue, I need more sales or revenue, or I need more clients. Those 2 numbers aren't on here. And the reason why those 2 numbers aren't on here is because they are the result. They are the mathematical result of these figures, if you will. So if you took leads times conversions, you would get your clients. Okay, if you took 1 through 4 and multiplied that, that equals revenue. So when people are looking at impacting clients or impacting revenue, they're actually trying to impact the wrong thing, and they guess. And they're like, well, I guess that means we need to spend more in marketing. I guess that means we need to do this. Guessing doesn't get it done. You'll eventually come back around, but why not have a better indicator of where you need to go in the first place? I'm going to show you a case study here of why those numbers are important, but what I need you to kind of grasp on is this concept that 1% is huge. Most people, if I asked you, could you grow your business 1% in the next 30 days? I hardly ever get a no. Everybody says yes. I'm like, well, why not? Why aren't you doing that? And then I get the blank stares. Reason why we don't focus on little growth is because it's not sexy. Nobody's going to give us a gold star trophy. Hey, bud, I just grew my business 1%. Yay! Woohoo! Good for you. So we negate the little things that could build our business, and we're looking for these gigantic leaps. Well, the gigantic leaps don't really happen. It's really about this power of 1% that produces the big numbers, if you will. So if you look at this, and we were just to look at those 7 figures, and you can see I have clients and revenue in there now, and we were to take our, just some current numbers and look at growing each part by 1%. And I know I rounded up on a couple numbers to get a whole body in there. But at the end of the day, what you get is 15%. 15% growth year over year is pretty darn good for most businesses. Is there, anyone out there that would turn that down? Usually, no. I mean, that would give you get a lot more freedom if you had that kind of growth in your business year over year. So if you look at this is this case study of a client that came in, and where she talked about what she needed to grow was more clients. Okay, that's usually what people say. I need more clients. I need more clients. And I said, okay, so let's look at the numbers. And I asked her to go back, and she happened to be really good at tracking her leads. I will tell you, hardly anybody tracks their leads. So if that's you, just start tracking. Like a little notebook with a little tick mark is as good as you need for right now. The more information, the more you can tell, but get started, just something simple. And when you look at this is where she thought the problem was. But she's got a 73% conversion. That's a huge rock star of sales for our guys out there that know this. Here's really where her problem was, is in this numbers 6 and 7. So 6 is lifetime value of a client. That basically means how long is your client with you and how much will they spend over that time period, okay? Now, she was really good at what she did. So she would have clients come in and out of her business really quickly. They didn't need to stay, or she didn't have a way for them to stay around longer and purchase from her. And then 7 is that cost of client acquisition. That is the dollars that you are spending in marketing to produce a client. Okay, these are 2 key numbers to know. What this shows me is that it's costing her $1,250 for every client who spends $1,420. This is not looking at overhead and operational expenses, guys. So she's losing money on every client. This is one of the most common problems I see time and time again for businesses, is that they're losing money on every client. So if we take this and we do this 7-figure calculator study for her, if we just look at some changes, some shifts that we can make in her business. So leads, I'm asking her to maintain the lead level she has and bump it up by, I think it's 2 a month. Easy. Then conversion rate's going to drop, and I'll tell you why in a minute. We're looking at her cost. Anytime you have such a high conversion rate, especially if you're in a service-based business, that is an indicator that you have price elasticity and can increase your price. Typically, it takes you increasing your price like 349% more before you start losing too many clients by that price increase. So if you lose one client, it's not a big deal, not when you've actually made a good price increase. So that's what we're doing for her. We're bumping up her fees, right? And we're going to find a way that her clients can stay with her a little bit longer. Maybe they have a maintenance program or a group program or something that they can go into. And just by doing that, look what we've done to her gross revenue. Now, she was a young business, 6 months old, so not scary to see these kinds of numbers at 6 months old. But suddenly, instead of losing her net profit, she's gaining a net profit, and she's increased the lifetime value of her client. All of those little bitty changes gives a 439% growth. So let's say we don't even make it to the 439% growth. Let's say we make 300% growth. That's still awesome. And most people would die to have that kind of growth in their business. But when you look at your numbers in this little kind of simplistic way, you're able to make little changes that add up to a big result. So that's kind of the secret behind all those leaps you're seeing people make. They're actually making little changes. They're not working that hard, not as at least hard as we think it should be to get that kind of result. You always want to find opportunities for your clients to say yes. I work with, fairly what I consider, I'm value priced. I perform an awesome service, give an awesome result, but there are going to be people that don't fit into my high tier of pricing packages, right? But I'm attracting all of these people. And so I consider it a bit of it would be foolish of me not to have something like pricing levels or servicing levels so that somebody can say yes at any price. If it doesn't take that much, if it gives me a leveraged product, if it's a home study course, if it's a group program or whatever, I've got multiple ways for clients to say yes. That's how you maximize those marketing dollars that you're already spending in doing that. So there's a couple of other ways that you can do it, but the biggest thing is don't make good clients go through too many hurdles in your sales process, because as a society, we are so highly impatient that if it's hard to buy, we walk away and we go find where it's easy to buy. And we want to kind of put that into your business so that it's easy for somebody to get what they need, make a purchase, and then be served. The strategies, everybody always talks about strategies. What are the strategies? What's the it thing that I need to do? Well, there are a ton of strategies out there. And guess what? They all work. It's the most amazing thing. They all work. The question is, will they work for you? And who you are, what your strengths are, who your clients are, and where they are. Okay, that's really what makes a strategy work or not work in a business. So copycatting doesn't always work. Doing it half-hearted doesn't always work. You really do have to be committed, and in order to be committed, you really need to see that you just need a few strategies in your business. The simpler your business is, the easier it is for it to be successful. So the more complication does not serve small businesses. So if you think of Zappos and Amazon and companies like this, now they are very diversified. But how they got to here with simplification and doing one thing so exceedingly well that it paid for the diversification in their business. So you don't need a whole lot. In fact, I know we're going to, part of the show notes, you can have access to the Marketing Quick Fix, and I actually will walk you through some of these strategies and help you look at what will work for your budget, what will work for when you need to see results, and give you a lot of kind of key ways to just simplify the overall marketing process. Leveraging, this is huge, and I'm going deep on just one point here, money leverage, because this is, I know Rod probably hears this a lot, you know, I don't have the money, I can't, you know, it's just not here. Well, there's more than one way to skin a cat, as we like to say in Texas, and I have cats, so don't get mad about that. But the point is there's more than one way to do anything. And as an entrepreneur, it's not so much that you get settled on a way, it's that you're open to the solutions that can fulfill a problem. So in this way, if it's money, you know, there are so many different ways that if your bank account's a little low, there's somebody out there that could use what you got and you could partner with, and they have the bank account that can take you to that next level, right? So we're just looking for opportunities, and there's 5 here. You know, sweat equity partnerships is one of my favorite. It's really that co-branding of marketing materials, strategic alliance, where maybe you're doing a lot more of the legwork and your partner's funding it, and the result benefits both companies. That's a great way to do it. Get paid to build it. That's huge in the information space right now, where you're basically trying to get to a proof of concept, get some funds in. Think of crowdfunding. This is all crowdfunding is. If you're getting paid to build it. So you're saying, here's my idea, sell the idea, get the funding in, and then they go execute. So it kind of turns that whole cycle of you've got to have a complete course, you know, ready before you sell it on its head. Just a few ideas there. The E part of this is the Albert Einstein that you really need to be in your business. You need to be a little crazy and you need to be a little mad. People need to look at you and wonder what's going on, because you have to be a mad scientist that is willing to experiment, or you never find what your secret sauce is. So the fact that you might try something and it doesn't work isn't a reflection on nothing works. It just means it didn't get work for your business. So go find the next thing. I will tell you, my marketing message I have been working on for 2.5 years. 2.5 years of refining this marketing message so that I am popping with what I said. If I struggled and didn't have faith in what I was doing and gave up at try 2 or try 3, I would never be so close that I am today. Do I think I'm all the way there? No, but I can see the finish line. And that's the payoff. That's really, you know, that means that system is complete and done, and I can move on to perfecting the next system in my business. So just remember that, you know, success isn't straight. It's full of hills and valleys. And people like, you know, business coaches and people like Rod that are putting great products together for you are really looking at reducing the time that you're in the down cycle. You know, we don't want you to get stuck in the obstacles and regressions. We want you to keep on moving on. And that's really what people like us are doing for businesses. The last rule is really about savoring the success. So I'm going to ask you, how many of you guys or girls or ladies are out there cheering for football teams, basketball teams, baseball teams, little league teams, screaming at the top of your lung to help whoever you're out there supporting make the goal, score the run, get the points up on the board? You're doing that so much more than you actually cheer yourself on. You have to be your biggest cheerleader. And one way to do that is just to celebrate every little success. You know, so many times in business, we put off the rewards. You know, it's like, well, I have to do this first before I can, you know, take a vacation or, you know, buy this or reward myself here. Reward yourself all the stinking time, because you've got to mix in a little bit of fun and joy into this business or you're going to burn out. You know, number one thing you could be doing is give yourself the Salesman of the Week award or month award. I gave that to myself, you know, a couple months ago. I haven't made that number again. I'm like, I want the reward. I did. You should, I mean, if you have to print out a stinking certificate and go Salesman of the Month, I want you to do that. I want you to do the little cheesy things that make you smile, because when you smile and you get that little bit of satisfaction from putting in all this effort into your business, you want to do it more. You're training your brain that this is a good thing and that we want to do more. So you're always looking for opportunities out there. You do need to choose what your best next step is. You know, I gave you that number that I had you write down, you know, and I hope that you can look at that number and see that it's a little bit more plausible. I do want you, this quote made a huge difference for me, and I know people know it, but, you know, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results is called insanity. Don't be insane, be smart. You know, if you've been going down this one road and you keep hitting those glass ceilings, then look at what you need to shift so that you can actually break through. And what I'll leave you with is really about a challenge of what you are going to do differently. And this truly is the secret to success in business, that it's not about clients. It's not about clients. It's not about your competition or your industry. Those are all excuses that you tell yourself. It's really about you getting the best out of yourself and being the best so that your business really succeeds and thrives. So I hope I've inspired you a little bit. I hope I've given you some things to think about in your business, and I'd always love to hear how it's impacted you.
Well, thank you, Leslie. Thank you so much for taking this time out of your busy schedule to share this valuable information with my listeners and our guest today. Guys, if you want more information on Leslie and on what she brings to the table and you want to connect with her, simply jump on over to www.createmorebusinessnow.com. Click on Find a Coach, and you can get access to Leslie and her information. I challenge you to do so. Guys, until next time, I want to bid you farewell. Thank you so much for joining.
Engage, enlighten, empower.